Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, time for a little Wisdom Wednesday. Hope you're doing well out there. We've been getting quite a few phone calls the last couple of weeks with folks who are in the midst of family breakouts of COVID, and fortunately folks are doing quite well. This is good news. We talked a little bit about that last week in terms of things to do as far as your vitamin supplements that we've talked about quite a bit, the H1, H2 blockers that are antihistamines, which can also be somewhat helpful. We're calling in a few Medrol dose packs for folks and getting some cough syrups and things like that. But most of the time, over-the-counter medications are working quite well. Just make sure that you rest up and stay hydrated, really important. This coming weekend, I'm going to be attending an online course about NAD. NAD is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. That's lots of big words, but NAD is basically essential for all life. It's in all life and animal forms and is part of many processes in the body. So I'm hoping to come back with a lot of information, but I thought before I really dove in deeply that I would talk a little bit about this and the importance of this molecule as we have begun to learn over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It was recognized years ago. However, its role in many of the aspects of aging and the loss of NAD as we age can lead to things like inflammation. It can lead to things like neurodegenerative changes, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer. So trying to keep these levels up are quite important. And so hopefully we'll have more insight after this meeting this weekend, which is just strictly looking at NAD. Now, NAD comes in two forms. It comes in an oxidized form and a reduced form. So that just means it loses an electron and it gains an electron. And in doing so, transferring this electron along the energy chain, in particular, for those of you who have done science in the past, you've heard of a thing called the Krebs cycle, and that's where we make ATP, which is the form of energy that we use in the body. But this is a cofactor and a really important cofactor. It's also required for a set of chemicals in the body called sirtuins. And we know that sirtuins have a lot to do with gene regulation, meaning turning genes on and off, as well as cellular health, cellular metabolism, and introducing now this term cellular senescence, meaning cells that are about to die. And in order to really keep things going in the body, we want to recycle all that cellular debris. And it's really important to have this type of activity with NAD to help regulate these types of things going on in the body. So one of the things that we know can help and raise NAD as we age is calorie restriction and intermittent fasting. We've talked a lot about that, and it's so fascinating how all of the things that we've come to learn in the last several years regarding calorie restriction and intermittent fasting and control of insulin and reducing insulin resistance, how important that is as we age for our immune health, for our cognitive health, for our cardiovascular health, all these things within the body of trying to age gracefully and to maintain as much vital function as we can. So as I get more information with this, I do want to share it, but just know that there are ways that you can increase your own NAD with not only the way you eat and the way you perhaps fast or restrict calories, but also in supplements. As you are looking sometimes now when you go into supplement stores or as you're reading about supplements, things that are starting to come up to the surface, we're seeing nicotinamide riboside, we're seeing just niacin. Tryptophan can also be used to help raise NAD, although it's a fairly inefficient way to do it. I'm taking a supplement called NMN, which is nicotinamide mononucleotide, and with resveratrol, both of those, which are going to help sirtuin activity, which is more in line with gene regulation, up and down regulation, in terms of keeping healthy genes on and turning the less healthy genes off, etc. So hopefully in the next week or so, after I get all this information from my meeting that I'm going to, and can run through all that and make it accessible and easy to understand, I will be sharing with you ways that we will utilize this information to increase our own personal NAD levels, which will help reduce inflammation, reduce risks for cardiovascular disease and neurodegenerative disease, reduce our risk for cancer, and try to tie some of these things up so that they're a little more understandable. So think about NAD. You might want to read a little bit about some of that this week, and we'll talk more next week in ways that we can utilize this information, raise our levels, reduce the aspects of inflammaging or aging through inflammation, etc., so that we can continue to function well, keep our immune system in good shape, and move forward beyond what we've had to experience these last 2 or 3 years. I think that it will be important to use this information for optimizing our immune health, in addition to just our overall health and wellness as we age. You all have a good week. We'll talk again soon.